This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Hello, you two.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Well, a lot of you are talking about last night's Grammys, and we were all speculating last week. Would the show and the host, Trevor Noah, make any jokes about the Will Smith Oscar slap? Well, now we know. Take a look.
We're going to be listening to some music, we're going to be dancing, we're going to be singing, we're going to be keeping people's names out of our mouths, and we're going to be giving out awards all throughout the night.
All right, I'm going to present this award, and I trust that you people will stay 500 feet away from me.
I love Questlove. So that was about as far as it went, last night's Grammys, but it was a completely different story on Saturday Night Live, where they talked about it again and again and again. Take a look.
Feels like we've been living in the wake of it our entire lives. It happened on Sunday. On Sunday. It's Saturday, bro.
Will Smith said, love will make you do crazy things. You know what else makes you do crazy things? Crazy.
Hey, can I get a selfie real quick?
Of course, yeah. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it.
Hey, I'll be right back, man.
All right, how do you think they handled it? The Grammys, we were talking right before the break about, or the opening, about how much love was protruding, and Trevor Noah was like, we're all a big family, and that seemed to be the theme of the night. What did you think, Erica?
Yeah, it was a love fest.
Yeah.
It was like, it was very much like we are going to go the opposite direction. And you know what? I don't mind that. I think what it really showed me, because at first I was like, okay, I'm like, man, they are really loving on each other. Oh, they really loving on each other. Oh, everybody loving on each other. Like, okay, I see y'all. And it felt like in theory, it would have been too much. But honestly, I think we are just ready for a love fest.
I know what you mean.
Like, as a whole, like,
we're traumatized.
Yeah, it's like there's nothing wrong with reaching out and being like, I appreciate you. You know, like, let's come together. Let's try to figure out a way to, like, be one.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Especially through music. It's somewhat easier when music unifies. I saw Gaga helping SZA, who was walking up with crutches, and she was fluffing her, making sure she was all right. What do you think about SNL, too, and the way they handled it?
I thought we saw, like, really the healing process coming full circle. Because if you think, just take it to like your home. If you had an incident like we saw, you know, with the smack, if that happened at your Thanksgiving, God forbid, you know, everybody would be in shock. You would take a week to process it, call in family members, oh my gosh, what's happening? Has so-and-so talked to so-and-so? But towards the end of the week, once you start to process things, somebody makes the first joke. Somebody goes, did you see when Erica stormed out the room walking, she looked crazy and her hair fell? They had that thing. And now
Not
you
the
get
hair,
now,
not the hair.
now her hair moved this out. And now you got a little joke going, and now you've kind of taken the energy down a little bit. You've made your jokes, and now we can heal and move on as a people, because we were all traumatized by seeing that.
Yes, we were.
And I think, you know, some people were triggered literally, and some people like myself were like, what an emasculating thing to happen, how embarrassing. So I needed to process that, we need to process that, and I think the jokes are kind of the cherry on top of, like, we have kind of worked through that in our collective conscience.
Yeah, as the pop culture, as a culture. Yeah, I know what you mean. All right, well, we've got a whole lot more on the Grammys coming up, including a look at some of last night's big winners and performances, which I thought were amazing. So stay tuned for that. I was singing this morning. But first, there is some big news about Will Smith. He did resign from the Academy, saying his actions at the Oscars were shocking, painful, and inexcusable. Now, the Academy responded saying they accepted his resignation, and they're still going to move forward with their own disciplinary actions. Meantime, a number of Will's projects have been put on hold, including ones at Netflix and Sony, and 2 big studios have pulled out of a bidding war for the movie rights to his autobiography.
Why?
I agree with you. I was like, that's the one thing you should do. His memoir, I went and took a look at it. It was in 2021, just released. It talks about his 2 sides, Uncle Fluffy, his therapist named it, and the darker side, and how when people see that darker side, they're scared and confused. It says a lot about his sort of 2-sidedness and his abuse from his father. Resigning from the Academy, I gotta be honest, means nothing.
It just means you can't vote, right?
It means you can't vote, but you can still win and go.
Right, yeah.
That's not enough.
It's like being a diplomat's kid.
All my friends were diplomats kids. Yeah. Diplomatic immunity.
It's just like, you get all the perks.
Sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I'm sitting on this panel with Al, and I think I'm at his comedy show. I'm like, oh, it's my turn? I'm supposed to speak now? Oh, I thought I was just in the front row. My bad. No, you're right. It doesn't mean anything in theory, but I'm telling you, I said this from the beginning. There is going to be no punishment that anyone can really inflict on Will Smith that Will Smith isn't going to feel or internalize himself.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing greater than what he has to be experiencing right now. Because the idea that even, the movies that are being put on hold, that doesn't just affect him. That affects everyone, like people who had scheduled and made time, like all the people behind the scenes, the crew, the other actors, like everyone. So that's a lot. That's a lot to have to sit with and think about as punishment.
Yeah. I think there has to be more, though. Do you agree?
I don't know.
It can't just be that I don't vote anymore. I don't want him presenting it the next year.
The question is, what else can we do to him? I mean, short of filing criminal charges, which aren't going to happen. Again, when you start talking about punishment, with somebody like Will Smith, I don't even know. I mean, you're not going to punish him punitively. The only way that he can be punished is by knowing that the people who look up to him, like our co-host Jeff, like myself, like the people that grew up with him and have seen him story. I remember buying his albums.
Yeah.
So I think the disappointment from us is more than enough for one person. I think he had a very bad moment. I think we witnessed somebody having a real live mental health issue in real time. And for as much as we all claim to be advocates for that, I feel like when we see it in real life, we go, well, what happened to him? All the stuff we've been talking about every day for years. We just saw that in real time, but it's hard to process it. So, I hope he's better.
And I also think that everyone's like, why weren't the actions swifter? Why isn't it, they're more punitive or, whatever. And it's like, I don't know if people really want to see him be taken down.
Right. No, I agree with that.
I think people think they do.
Right, but I don't think they really
I think
do.
if what you've been feeling, if you felt triggered or traumatized by what happened, will only be multiplied by the idea that someone can have a break one time. And everything be taken away.
Yeah.
Like, no one really wants to see that story as much as I think some people think they want to see that story.
I know what you mean, and I don't want to see him taken down, but I do want to see him I don't know, maybe this is I just want to see him not just make a publicist apology. I want him to really, and maybe this is on a Red Table Talk, to really explore how awful that was, right? Like, I feel like we got a very publicist response and then we haven't heard from him. That might be the lawyers, but I'd love to hear him acknowledge how awful this was.
I think he's got to work through that. I think I see what you're saying, but I don't know if he's there yet. Sometimes it takes a long time to process that.
You're right. Coming up on DBL, we're talking about the big winners from the Grammys, plus the top tier performances that everybody's talking about today. Jon Batiste. And some Republicans target Disney over its new stance on the so-called Don't Say Gay bill. Should companies even get involved in politics? Stay tuned and write in.
Closed captioning provided by
We're talking about Jon Batiste and how great he is. He's doing the interstitials for the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. And they're using Freedom. They're licensing it.
But the dances that he can.
When I move my body like this, it makes me feel free.
You know what though? I do. I look at him and it's Erica. I don't. It's so weird looking at sports my whole life. But now when I look at sports as a 44-year-old dude, I look at him that guy could be my son.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. My last season, because I used to be.
It's weird.
I used to be an in-arena host for the Nuggets, so the NBA team here in Denver. And the last season, I was like, am I too old to be on this court? Because one of the players' mothers was younger than me. And I'm like, when did that happen?
It just rolls along.
When did that happen? And if you don't know about Jon Batiste, he's an amazing musician, jazz, classically trained pianist. But Stephen Colbert, who my mother-in-law is like obsessed with, he's the band leader for the Stephen Colbert Show. And my mother-in-law has become obsessed with Jon Batiste. So she's very like Irish Catholic, like freedom, hey, like in her little pink robe.
Yeah,
like he just exudes what music can do and what it can transpose and transpire, and he won a lot. I think he won 4 or 5, and he won an Album of the Year, and his performance was electrifying. So I was really.
I sent everybody last year when we interviewed him. I sent everybody, my mom and everybody.
Transcended, that's it. Transpose, transpire.
The album. I was like, you need to get this album, and now like I don't play this much. It's like when I listen to it, I get emotional, and it's like weird because I'm like I can't be driving and crying.
Yeah, I know.
Or at least driving and thinking you're gonna cry.
Like, where's my
Welcome back. Well, Disney has found itself the prime target in the latest culture war. So the company was originally quiet about Florida's new parental rights in education bill. That's commonly referred to as the Don't Say Gay bill. But now they say their goal is to see that that law is overturned. So if you haven't understood it, I get it. Watch a tutorial. Yeah, that's great. The law prohibits the discussion of sexual orientation or gender identity from kindergarten to 3rd grade. And if they want to, parents can sue the school districts if they feel like teachers have violated the law. Now, there are politicians speaking out on both sides of the debate. Here's what Maryland Governor Larry Hogan had to say about it on CNN.
He wants to criticize Disney for expressing, how they feel about that bill. I mean, they have every right to it. We have a thing called freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
They can come out and say what they think. I think the bill was kind of absurd and not something that would have happened in our state.
But on the other hand, check out what Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn said in a recent radio show. Take a look.
I think that is something that you have to look at and say, this is how the woke left extremists are using corporations to push their agenda.
So Disney is not the first company to take a stance on politics, and it certainly will not be the last. But we want to hear from you and get your temperature on this. DBL Nation, what do you think? Should companies take stances on political issues, yes or no? So be involved. Go to dblvote.com to weigh in. It has been passed. Ron DeSantis has signed it into law, but we're waiting probably a court case to see if it's constitutional. Go ahead.
Marsha Blackburn's response reminds me of like waking up on Sunday morning and you're talking to like one of your friends like, you were wasted last night. No, you were wasted last night. Actually, you're both wasted, okay? Like this is pot, meat, kettle. Like, what do you mean it's their way of getting companies to, like, come on, y'all. It's like, stop pointing fingers because there's always 3 fingers pointed back at you, right? When it comes to companies and their ability or inability to get involved in anything political, first you have to look at, are those companies actually contributing funds to either one or both political parties? They have a horse in this race just like any other constituent. Speaking of constituency, companies have a constituency too. They just call them customers. So there has to be a responsibility, there has to be a loyalty in some way to actually identify like, hey, person who decided to spend their very hard-earned money with us, we see you and we want to represent and make sure that we're defending you.
Absolutely. May I add employees who are very LGBTQ friendly and might have been very hurt by this law. Before you go, I want to let you know Disney has 38 lobbyists, like you were saying, with considerable pull in the Florida state government. And Disney employees, like I said, were so angry they coordinated a walkout about this, and Disney then responded. How do you feel? Should they just stay out of it?
I don't think that they should, and I don't think that they can. I don't think that their employees are going to allow them to, and I don't think the general public who patronizes their business is going to allow them to stand pat. They're going to have to to make a decision one way or the other. And we've seen companies come out and say, hey, we're Hobby Lobby, we're Chick-fil-A, we're conservative over here. This is where we put our money behind. And you know what? I don't see a shortage in that Chick-fil-A line. They made a stand about who they are and who they support, and they've, like, their customers have made the decision to continue to go. And that's great. Some people say, hey, you know, our customers don't like this. We're not going to support this. We're not going to film any movies in this city until you get that ordinance right. We're not going to have any concerts here until you guys fix this. And the state will react or they will not. But putting pressure on people financially is the only way that things get done in this country. The way that we got rid of the Klan, for the most part, is by suing the robe off of them. So this is how things get done. It's not going to be through ideological means. So we need to understand this is part of the game, too.
Yeah, we got to go to the MLB All-Star game because of that move.
Yep.
It was moved
from Atlanta
to Denver.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah, Money, the Wallet, it talks real loud. Coming up on TV. Oh, let me see the final vote, excuse me. Yes, 48% say they should get involved. No, so a slight majority say no. Interesting, 53% say no. Interesting. Write us in on YouTube and the app. Coming up, all the top moments from the Grammys, including Lady Gaga's, or as I call her, Gaga's, stunning performance coming up next.
Some claims online about hammerhead worms and how they could be dangerous to plants. So we wanted to see if they were true. For answers to these questions, we went to Dr. Sidney Crawley, an assistant professor of urban entomology at NC State, Matt Bertone, an entomologist at NC State, and Don Flynn, an adjunct curator of entomology at the Scheele Museum. Now let's get to these claims. The first one, can hammerhead worms kill plants?
No, they are not plant feeders at all.
Flynn agrees, saying they don't kill plants. So we can verify that no, hammerhead worms do not kill plants. Next up, if you cut the worm in half, will it grow into 2 worms?
So that is absolutely true. You don't want to cut them up. You don't want to, use a shovel to remove the head or something, because they will grow back from those fragments.
So we can verify that yes, if you cut the worm in half, it will grow into 2 worms. So how can you kill the worms? The claims online say you have to dissolve them in salt or vinegar.
It's not that hard to kill them. You can just put salt on them. You could put them in a bag of rubbing alcohol. You could drop them in, a pan of soapy water.
So we can verify that yes, to kill them, you can dissolve them in salt or vinegar. And finally, will you get sick if you touch them with your bare hands?
You should wash your hands probably if you touch them, but it's nothing super dangerous as it sounds like the person is alluding to. This is not something you should be rushing to the emergency room if you touched one or anything like that.
Dr. Crawley says they do produce the same type of toxin that jellyfish produce, but as long as you're not eating them, you should be fine.
You would have to handle or ingest a lot of worms for it to cause a really big problem for a human.
So we can verify that no, you will not get sick if you touch them with your bare hands, but make sure to wash them. With your Verify, I'm Brittany Van Voorhees.
When I move my body like this, I feel freedom. Welcome back. That's Jon Batiste.
I love it.
It's good for everybody.
It makes you want to move.
It really does. Like age, it just transcends. So he was performing at the Grammys last night. He was a big winner, walking away with Album of the Year and 4 other awards. Another big winner, Olivia Rodrigo. She took home 3 Grammys, including Best Pop Album, and Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak's 70s throwback band, Silk Sonic. Silk and Sonic? Silk Sonic.
Silk Sonic.
Silk Sonic. Want to make sure we're up for picked up 4 awards. But everyone is talking about Bruno, who shocked fans by lighting up a cigarette on stage. I saw this after receiving Record of the Year. Anderson .Paak also said they were going to just go get drunk after.
I didn't think it was a cigarette.
I didn't either.
It was a one-off.
I think it's a one-hitter, I thought. I don't know what that is, but I think it's something else.
Do we have that? Are we sure that was a cigarette?
I don't think it was. Yeah. I don't think it was.
And I mean, do we have to pretend if it's a big deal if it isn't? Like if you win a Grammy,
you win 4
for making incredible music, light a joint.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you go, what is somebody gonna do? Get mad? Write a letter? It's like,
Hello,
I don't know.
what's that?
I'll put your letter right underneath my Grammy. Like, I don't know. Enjoy your life.
I
think
hear
it's-
you.
I think it's fine.
And they said it's hard to stay humble because they're winning so many awards.
Yes,
It's great.
that was an interesting speech.
Yeah, it was. The Grammys were all about music, and the performances, they did not disappoint. From rap, country, and rock, every genre was on display. Take a look at this.
Empty glass of Pinot, cigars and casinos. What they especially praise is the ethos.
You're gonna see a shadow. Sidestep right left to my beat. The way I breathe you in.
So let's try. You got to try. You got to breathe in as a
That was so good, wasn't it? I also wanted to give a shout out because maybe somebody will know it. The Sondheim tribute. Stephen Sondheim is, of course, a Broadway composer. He wrote West Side Story and other things. And Cynthia Erivo came out, Leslie Odom Jr. They had Rachel Ziegler and Ben Platt singing from West Side Story. There's a Place for Us. And it was like even Broadway. It was lovely.
I feel like we've had two very good award shows back to back, Erica.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Now look, we have been completely impartial when the ratings were down, when we weren't feeling it, even when we were, pandemic from home and it was weird Zoom. We were still honest about how we felt about it. These last two award shows, minus the slap, remove that. You can argue we're the two best in recent memory. So I feel like we need to make sure that we also account for when things are really good.
No, I agree. Fair. I completely agree. I'm wondering if the Grammys saw an Oscar bump because the first thing I was like, everybody in my house, and we have a full house right now, and I'm like, y'all, I have to watch the Grammys, and they were like, my sister's like, but the basketball game's on the NCAA women's basketball. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, we're going to have to do something. I'm like, and as I was walking away without even thinking, because there's two young kids in the house too, and I was like, heaven forbid somebody gets slapped and I don't see it. And I just kept walking and I was like, I mean, heaven forbid we don't see all of the beauty on display.
It probably did get involved.
I don't want to miss the speeches.
Right. You're probably right. Well, speaking of performances, and they were all wonderful, Lady Gaga sang an emotional tribute to her dear friend and contributor, Tony Bennett. Take a look.
Will I leave you? Never.
Oh, man. Last year, Gaga and Tony performed together for a special on his 95th birthday. Tony is currently battling Alzheimer's disease. He did introduce her in a quick little video, which was really touching. But I know that he said about her, there's two people in this world that have the best phrasing of jazz I've ever heard. And one is Lady Gaga, and one is Amy Winehouse.
Right.
And those two, I love their collaboration because it's old school, new school, but it's all jazz. It's all trained. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Gaga is classically trained.
Yeah.
Like people.
A pianist as well.
Also, just the idea that she can be anything, and that's a part of what makes her like the longevity. Like I met her when she was playing in a club, and there were 50 of us there.
Yeah.
And
like in New York,
in Chicago, but yeah.
Yeah.
And
but
I mean,
she was just
to
alone.
see, everything that she's been able to do. I mean, it is incredible.
And just look at Tony Bennett's career. At the end of his career, he's featured prominently in the Amy Winehouse documentary, and then finally his kind of last collaboration is with Gaga. So that just shows you right at the end of your career, you can reinfuse it with some youth and a different perspective. And he was open to that. And look at that.
I totally agree. Well
done,
said.
sir.
Well said. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
If you're looking through your pantry for something to eat and notice your canned foods are older than the date printed on the can, you might think it's time to go to the grocery store to restock. But some people on social media say expiration dates on cans are arbitrary, and companies would rather you throw away food so you buy more. First, let's clarify a misconception. If you take a look at canned goods, you'll notice they don't usually have an expiration date, but rather a use by or best by date. The USDA defines use by and best by dates as the period of time within which the food has its best flavor or quality. But what about safety? Let's verify. Are most canned foods still safe to eat past the use by date? Our sources are Meredith Carruthers, a food safety expert within the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA, Jennifer Quinlan, a professor and interim chair of the Department of Nutrition Sciences at Drexel University, and the Can Manufacturers Institute. The USDA says most canned foods are safe to eat indefinitely, provided they're in good condition and free of dents, rust, or swelling.
Ultimately, when canned foods are processed and put together, in their can, they are going through a heat treating process, a pressurized process that is essentially reducing the amount of bacteria and microorganisms that might exist in that canned food. Ultimately, what that does is it makes it so it'll stay safe indefinitely.
One exception is canned baby formula, which federal regulators require a use-by date on the product label under inspection of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The USDA said canned formula must be consumed by the use-by date to ensure, quote, the formula contains not less than the quantity of each nutrient as described on the label. Formula must maintain an acceptable quality to pass through an ordinary bottle nipple, unquote. After the use-by date passes, canned formula should be discarded. The Can Manufacturers Institute said most canned food can still be consumed after use-by or sell-by dates.
And that's more of a quality issue. It's really not a safety issue because there's no viable microorganisms in that can that should be able to survive as long as the can's intact.
So we can verify, yes, most canned food is still safe to eat past its use-by date. But double check that your can isn't damaged before preparing your food. And just know that the longer you wait, the less tasty your food might be. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.
Student loan payments are set to resume in about a month. Let's connect the dots. 40 million people with federal student loans will have to start paying again come May 1st. Borrowers have not been required to make payments since March 2020, and no interest has accrued. The federal government says 97% of borrowers had not kept up with payments since then. But the Biden administration could extend the repayment pause again, and some lawmakers are going even further than that, calling on Biden to cancel student loan debt altogether. The president supports canceling up to $10,000 a borrower, but only if Congress does it, not by executive order. That leaves 40 million people waiting and holding their breath. And that is Connecting the Dots.
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing all your comments, and y'all were writing. I wanted to give Joey Bon Vie, which means the good life, which is lovely in French. He said, every person, business should stand up for everyone's basic human rights. We share a planet. We were all equally born on. None of us should overpower anyone else. And I think what's interesting is you're hearing from people saying it's not just against LGBTQ community, which in my opinion it is. It's also against teachers' freedom of speech, right? The government telling them
bankrupt the school systems.
Yeah.
They're going to be sued over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. And I bet you this will be challenged. So let us know what you think. DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Go out and meditate, y'all.